Hi. I just recently was listening to a podcast called How to Save a Planet, and they have this episode that is all about how to talk to your family about climate change, and links for that are over there on the side. But I thought that the insights that they had were really great, and they also tell a really good story. The story is about Bob Inglis, who is or was a Republican congressman from South Carolina, and the story about his son after going to college, learned about the environment and talked to his father about how if he wanted to vote for him now that he's 18, that he really needed to support the environment more. So they had a really powerful, sweet conversation with each other, and I wanted to share some of the insights that they had from that conversation because they totally track on my experience doing conflict transformation and conflict resolution work. And so here it goes. Um, so first of all, they talked about just trusting that the other person has good intentions. Going into the conversation, not seeing the other person as an enemy seemed really important. And of course, it's like a father-son, and so it's probably pretty easy for them to see their good intentions. But it's a really important thing to really trust that the other person really is trying to be a good person in the world. That's a mistake that we make a lot when we're talking about difficult topics. Um, then the next thing he says, which probably I could say a million times, listen first. First, listen to the other person. It's really important to try to understand their concerns and why they believe what it is that they believe. So not only is listening first just good human practice, but it's also very strategic. If you listen to someone first, if you really listen to them and they feel like you've listened to them, that's going to open up the possibility for them to listen to you. So yeah, they said very clearly, like no one, like they will listen to you after you have listened to them. So that's the next thing. If you really want to convince someone of something, listen to them first. Bob Inglis has this really wonderful insight where he says that, especially if you're talking about a difficult subject and, you have like a strong opinion about it, um, notice that they might be afraid of something, that they are afraid of something. And here's some likely things they might be afraid of. First of all, they might be afraid that they're a laggard or they're not smart, or if they don't actually, if you're trying to teach them some new information, they might just be embarrassed about not knowing what they know, so don't treat them as being stupid. Also, they might be afraid of change. If they take in new information, their life might need to change, and who knows what that change is going to be like. It's kind of the nature of change, right? That we don't really know what it's going to happen when things change. Also, this other person might be afraid of having done something wrong. They might, feel like that they're, if once they've taken in some new information, they might then feel like they've done something wrong. And that's a super difficult thing for people to integrate. Um, and so this is where I thought the part that was like the best advice is make sure that there's a reservoir of grace. Let them know that they can change and that that's going to be okay and that it's possible for them to be forgiven, that there's a path to some form of redemption. Um, yeah, he said this line, and this is what prompted me to make this video. He says, guilt without redemption leads to paralysis. I want to see if that resonates with you. Can you think about a time when you felt guilty about something and you didn't think that there was any way for you to be forgiven? Did you feel stuck in that? I can definitely identify with that experience of having, you had a wrong idea or made a mistake, and um, and when I felt like I wasn't going to be able to be forgiven, like I'll just be frozen. Um, and I don't know, this leads to like I think a really important insight that I've learned in my life, and it's a great paradox. That if you really want someone to change, if you truly want someone to change, the first thing you need to do is accept them exactly as they are. You need to bring love and grace to the conversation, if you can bring love and grace to someone, that is what's going to allow them to be able to change. When we're held in love, we can be softened, and we can allow our defenses to come down, which is what allows change to happen. If you attack someone, or tell them they're wrong, or tell them they're stupid, or don't try to understand them, they're not going to really be able to, they'll just be defensive. The armor goes up and no change is going to happen. And that's usually not what we're hoping for when we have a difficult conversation. So yeah, don't make the other person wrong. And that's a difficult one. Sorry about that. And so this is the last part of advice, is just welcome the other person into the conversation. Don't have it be a delivery of some sort of truth that you care about so much. Make sure that you're opening into a conversation. And the conversation can simply be, what do we do now? Now that we've learned some new thing, what's possible? And yeah, so don't try to assess blame. Instead, try to figure out how you can work together to build that future together. This is important work right now. We have a lot of difficult conversations for us to have, and whether this is in your workplace, or whether it's with your family, or whether it's with just as a whole country, what would it be like for us to listen to each other, realize that if someone disagrees with us, that they're probably afraid, and to approach them with love and grace and create space for redemption. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you're interested, I have like all sorts of great content about this. My podcast, Fractal Friends. I recently had a number of conversations with people who are conservative, and there's some really powerful conversations about how we need to come together. Something that I'm committed to in this next year. And I think that we all need to be. It's time for us to start building the bridges and making deeper connections. If you want to learn any more about me, you can check me out, duncanautry.com. I would love to have a conversation. If you have a difficult conversation, you need a pep talk, reach out. There's ways for you to contact me. You can schedule a free call with me, no problem. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.